Hello and good evening to my ladies first group. Tonight we have got a real treat. We are taking on a very heavy conversation, guarding your heart from a cheating man. Now, I don't want you to think that this is all about women who are currently in this situation, because it could be for women who have come out of this situation, or it could be for women unbeknown to them at this moment, maybe going into that situation. But I think from whatever aspect or whatever avenue that you have seen this, experienced it, observed it, it can be very helpful because there's layers of things that we're going to address throughout this episode. What I will tell you, I don't have a sense of timing about how long it would take to give you all of this information. And with that being said, it is very possible that we may extend this into a part 2, which we would make sure you have accessibility to on next Monday, which would be May the 15th. So we're going to see how far we get this evening. And if it's too much for one episode, I'll take us to that conclusion point and pick us back up on next week. Because what I don't want to do, I don't want to rush through this and just try to spew out a bunch of information and really miss some of the intricate parts or significant parts that we really need to spend a little more time on. So with all of that being said, let's grow. Guarding your heart from a cheating man. There is a lot of information out there statistically about the increase in affairs or the increase of cheating or the increase of infidelity, whatever term you want to use. And this is not just specific to married couples. Obviously, these are folks who are supposedly in a serious monogamous relationship. This is for people who are engaged as well as it is for people who are married. But the propensity for men to cheat has been on an uptick. And yes, we know women cheat. We're not coming on here trying to act like this is a problem only for men. It is a problem for both genders. But tonight, because this is a ladies first theme, we are dealing with men who cheat and trying to work some things out and unfold some things on this in this arena so that we can become better and we can become stronger and we can have a better sense of awareness of what is happening and just see where we land on this. So I'm excited to do this with you. I hope that you have got your seat. And I hope that you have got your notes or your pad or your iPad or something where you can jot down some things that may ring a bell for you. So with that being said, ladies, let's grow. So the first place I want to take you on this, I really had to think about how much I wanted to dive into this because it may feel like men would have a better grasp about why men cheat. But I did some research, not a whole lot because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I did want to give us some sense of why men cheat. I did want us to kind of walk through this just for a moment and kind of see where this takes us. And like I said, I want to be fair. I would never tell you that every man cheats because he is a man. And I've heard people say that, all men are dogs, all men cheat, and that's not true, no more than all women cheat. So I think we have to be respectful of that situation and recognize it doesn't have to do with the gender as much as it has to do with the personality. Just saying. So let's spend a few minutes here. Why men cheat? So I was looking at something that was published where it said that 495 people were surveyed, 495 men. And here was some of the consensus about why men cheat. because that's probably one of those probing questions, especially when we encounter that situation. We get caught up on the why, we don't know why, and a whole lot of things start to spiral. One of the things that was said, low commitment. And when we say low commitment, it's not that you're not committed as the woman, but obviously the man is not committed. When he is not 100% invested or 100% vested in that relationship, ergo not vested in you, it leaves a gateway for him to feel comfortable cheating. Why? Because I'm not totally vested in a relationship. I'm not totally vested in you. And as long as my commitment is not 100, I leave myself a gateway where I can be comfortable in my cheating because my commitment is lacking. So that was one of the things that this consensus brought out, that if we're not all in, it leaves us room to rationalize our ability or our desire to cheat. Some men say they need variety, a need for variety. You know, we've been together for a couple of years. For some men, we've been together several months. I need to spice it up. I need to, be able to see Susie Q and Susie Donut Head and Teresa and Sherry and Sharon. And, I need a variety of women in my life. I'm just not a one woman man. I know this might be striking a few chords. And then for people who are married, and I'm prefacing it that way because of my own beliefs about sex and where it belongs. So I'm talking to people who are married when the consensus becomes sexual desire. My sexual desire is X, Y, and Z, and you're not performing at that level. You're not performing at that level. And there are times within that realm of sex that not only are you not performing at my desire, my momentum or my desire for the frequency is greater than yours. You're not keeping up. Now, if you can't keep up with me sexually, Houston, we got a problem. And again, I feel comfortable creating a gateway that says I'm able to step out because you're not doing it a certain way and you're not doing it frequently enough. Now, is this justification? Is it legitimate justification? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But this is where we go sometimes. This is where men go sometimes. And then we begin to talk about low self-esteem. I know this momentarily when you hear men cheat because of low self-esteem, and you're like, okay, I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that men cheat because of low self-esteem. Men sometimes need to have their ego stroked. And when they're in a relationship where they feel their pride or their ego rather is not being stroked, again, it opens up this gateway for me to be unfaithful, for me to cheat. Because what happens in my low self-esteem, if I can hook up with Susie, Teresa, Sherry, Sharon, Patricia, my ego's being stroked because I'm snagging them. I'm pulling them in. I got more than one. And one of the statements that I made in the promo, I was talking about insecurity or low self-esteem is sometimes masked by what we perceive as a man being arrogant. There are times when men perceive through their conversation to be arrogant, but they're very insecure people. They're low self-esteem. They're unhealthy self-esteem. So in order for me to equal my arrogance with my talk, because I'm just talking, hey, the women like me, I do my thing, blah, blah, blah. But internally, I don't really feel that way. But if I can snag 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, then it feeds me in a way where I'm pumped up, where I feel good. I'm able to give my low self-esteem a shot in the arm, because guess what? Susie's talking to me. Sherry's talking to me. Teresa's talking to me. And I got you. It's that shot in the arm for my insecurities. It's that shot in the arm for my low self-esteem. And I've allowed myself as a man to rationalize why it's okay to do what I'm doing, because I'm getting a rush off of this situation of being able to engage with more than one woman. That's my rush. That's my shot. That's my adrenaline. And again, it does not legitimize what he's doing. It just paints a picture of why he's doing it. Now, these last two weren't part of the consensus, but I think they're very relevant. And I said, men cheat because of what we allow. And that's my own perspective. That's my own observation. And that's my own experience. Men cheat because of what we as women allow. We give permission. And you may say, well, I have never told him it's okay to cheat. But did you know he was cheating and you never did anything about it? Did you tell him you knew he was cheating and you stayed in the relationship? Did you know he was cheating and you turned a blind eye? Did you know he was cheating and you never held him accountable? Everything I just said is you giving him permission. Everything I just said is what you allowed. Now, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I don't want you to feel attacked. I'm not saying it's your fault. That's not what I'm saying. But I want you to put it in perspective and understand we can position ourselves to give a man permission to cheat when we don't hold him accountable, when we turn a blind eye, when we know what's going on and we choose to do nothing about it. See, it doesn't have to be verbal. You know, it doesn't have to be once he told you and then you didn't do anything. Because let me say this. Let me get real. My mother told me something years ago. She said, most of the time, if you think your man is cheating on you, he is. And initially when I heard it, I kind of, I was on the fence about that statement. I thought, But what I came to realize is women have a very sharp sixth sense. Women have a very sharp intuition. And unless you have some mental health issues, and you're a very paranoid person, if that's the case, that's a different conversation. But if you don't fall into that category and you're in a relationship and something keeps gnawing at you and gnawing at you and gnawing at you, that's your intuition. That's that sixth sense kicking in. And there's some math that you do where 2 + 2 = 4, and you're like, the player is playing. Because women, whether it's a girlfriend, whether it's a wife, we're not the last to know. We're just the last to admit it. I'm just telling it. We're not the last to know. We're just the last to admit it. We allow, we give permission. And we do it for all the wrong reasons. You don't want to hold him accountable because you don't want him to leave. You don't want to have the conversation because you don't want to hear him admit it. You don't want to have a conversation because you don't want him to be mad at you. You don't want to have the conversation because it may prove you to be right. So I'm going to turn a blind eye and act like I'm not feeling what I'm feeling. I'm going to turn a blind eye and act like I'm not thinking what I'm thinking. I'm going to turn a blind eye and tell me, shame on you. You know, you can trust him. I don't know why you're thinking that. You're going to turn it off. And in the same movement, give him permission. People will do what we allow, and we got to own that. People will do what we allow. It doesn't matter if they recognize what they're doing is wrong, because what's greater in their mind is you're allowing it to continue. She hasn't left me. She hasn't confronted me. She hasn't. So player, gonna keep playing. She's not done anything. There's no consequences to what I'm doing. So I'm gonna keep the party going. Now I'm going to talk about how we rectify all of this, but I'm laying some foundation right now. So hold on, keep your seatbelt on. Don't get discouraged, because this is not a slam to you as a woman. Now, this last one, I said emotional attachment. Men cheat because of emotional attachment. Often when we think about cheating as a woman, our brain goes right to all the external stuff. But men, whether it's few and far between, can become attached to a woman emotionally. And the cheating didn't start off as what this person thought was going to be cheating. The cheating didn't even start. Guess what it was? It was a man and a woman talking, and they discovered they had a lot in common. They enjoyed each other's company. They started talking about different issues that they had going on. And over a gradual period of time, spark ignited. And without any reservations, they finally got to a point where this thing became physical. It probably had already started being emotional to the tune of him thinking about her, him wanting to be around her, him wanting to be with her. And then, like I said, at some point in time, this thing ignited and it became physical. Now, again, am I legitimizing this and saying, well, in that case, no, none of these situations are okay. But it's good to know how things get started, how things happen. The why is always good. Knowing the why is always good. So there can be an emotional attachment. It doesn't always have to be about the external. Like I said, that one there may be a few and far between, but nevertheless, it is a reality and it does exist. So I want us to kind of keep that in your pocket, that sometimes it's a gradual progress of time of this man getting to know this woman that he never planned to have an affair with. He just was in an environment and in a situation where each day he got to know a little more about her and she got to know a little more about him. And at some point, whoop, there it is. Just saying, just some things to think about. All right, here we go. This is kind of more the weight of self. One of the things I know is very important for us to acknowledge, when you know that your man is cheating, he's being unfaithful, sometimes it can be a knee-jerk to make it about you. Well, what did I do wrong? Why is he cheating on me? What could I have done better? And as I said prior to this, sometimes we're struggling with holding that man accountable because we don't want him to leave. We don't want to end the relationship. So we start bearing weight that doesn't even belong to us. We'll take it on. You know, now that I know he's cheating, it's all about me. You know, it's something missing from me. It's something I didn't say. It's something. It's about me. And what I want everyone who comes across this video, everyone who's sitting in it now, as a woman, it is not about you. Stop carrying a weight that doesn't belong to you. Stop it. I'm not pretty enough. Because we've envisioned in our mind, on the under the circumstances that we don't know who it is, we've never seen this person and he's with, I'm not pretty enough. We're assuming that she is top model, 36, 24, 36, just the most gorgeous woman in the world. That's probably why he's cheating. I'm not pretty enough. I need to lose weight. If I would just lose the weight, that probably would have circumvented the whole cheating. I just really need to get the weight off. Wow. Wow. I'm not smart enough. He's got a college education and I don't have one. And, I know he likes to engage in conversation. Sometimes I feel lost in it. And I know he gets frustrated because I can't talk on his level and probably the person he's with now. Wow. This is not about you. Stop relinquishing your power. Stop relinquishing your power. Stop giving him credit. Stop. And if we're in a marriage, I'm not sexually satisfying him. If I would just do it more frequently, if I would just swing from the chandeliers, if I would just do a role play, it would probably spice it up and he wouldn't feel the need to be with another woman. And I what? Oh my gosh. This is not about you. Take the shackles off. Take the weights off. This is not about you. Stop it. Stop making this about you. I nag him too much. He works hard every day. And, I ask him to, take the trash out. And, sometimes I ask him to help me straighten up. And, that's really not his job. And I just, I'm asking him why he hasn't gotten something done. And that's probably just too much. And I'm doing too much. I'm asking too much. I need to just dial it back. These are the reasons why I have concluded, you have concluded that he's sleeping, he's cheating with someone else, because it's really all about what you're not doing and what you are doing that is creating this issue. I'm not attentive enough. I need, if I would just, spend more time with him and do some things that relax him and make him feel appreciated and, just really give him more accolades and more flowers and just really lean more into appreciating him instead of, nagging him too much. Stop making this about you. He is who he is because that is who he has chosen to be. Put the period there and quit trying to make this okay. Put the period there and quit trying to keep him from being accountable and responsible for his behavior. Stop trying to be the martyr and fall on your sword for him, because this has nothing to do with you. Release yourself from these weights, from these shackles, from these untruths, and recognize this is not about you. And the sooner you can do that, the stronger you'll become. You have to have the courage to hold him accountable and allow him to be responsible. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. There you go. Mission accomplished. So now we know it's not about us. Now we know we don't need to be taking responsibility, but how do we change the game? How do we flip the script? This is the critical point of taking back your power. Because all of that stuff I just talked about, in terms of it's stop making it about you and it's not about you, in that particular arena, you have given up all of your power and you've turned it over to him. And you've allowed him to position you to believe all of that about if you were just better. But what I'm here to tell you tonight is you need to take back your power. How do you do that, Sandra? I feel helpless. I feel stuck. I feel unappreciated. I feel like I just should take it because there's nobody out there for me, and we have children together and this and that and the third. How do I take back my power? Here's where it all starts. Know who you are. Know who you are, queen. Know who you are. Did you hear what I just called you? Queen. Know who you are. Take your power back and know who you are. What's important about knowing who I am is I need to validate myself. You need to validate yourself. Quit waiting for him to say you're beautiful. Quit waiting for him to say you're smart. Quit waiting for him to tell you anything positive. Quit waiting for him to give you your flowers. Give yourself your flowers. Validate yourself. I'm a queen. Validate yourself. Too many times we're sitting around waiting for people to tell us how pretty we are, how smart we are, that we're a great mother, that we're a great wife, that we're a great this, we're a great that. Stop waiting on people. Validate yourself. That's not arrogance, that's confidence. And there's a vast difference between me being confident and me being arrogant. But my queens who are listening to me, as you listen to this video, when I say know who you are, know who you are. Boldly know I'm a queen. And I don't need to bow down to a cheating man. I don't need to concede to a cheating man. I don't need to act like it's my fault that he's out there cheating. He is who he is. And now I know that I am who I am. I'm a queen. I am validating myself. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am courageous. I am a go-getter. And I don't have to succumb to mistreatment just to say, I got a man. Validate yourself. Know what you want. Know what you need. And here is the clincher. Set boundaries and enforce them. See, when you set boundaries, when I know, let me go here. When I know who I am, it's easy for me to set boundaries. When I know what I want, it's easy for me to set boundaries. When I know what I need, baby, it's easy for me to set my boundaries and enforce them. So what happens when you begin to flourish, when you begin to bloom and blossom and evolve as the queen that you are, because you are, when you begin to do that, you set those boundaries. And when it comes to a man, you say, listen, you don't get to come in my space and cheat on me, because my worth is more valuable than you'll ever know. And you don't get to do that. And if you come into my space and you do that, boy, bye. You come into my space and you think you're going to cheat, boy, bye. So when we set boundaries, and we get a cheater in our space, we got to roll out. Now, some people have chosen to stay and work on it, and it can be successful. But there are other times when that game is never going to change. What he's doing is what he will do, and he's going to do, and he's going to do. There's not going to be any conversation, any counseling, any tears, anything that you can do that is going to change the trajectory of what he has purpose in his heart to be, a cheater. Let's keep it moving, because we're talking about taking back our power, my queen. We are talking about taking back your power. So we got to know who we are. But here's where it gets real, real good. Know whose you are. Now that supersedes knowing who you are. Know who do you belong to? Whose you are. Now, those of us who are spiritual, those who are spiritual walkers, those who are believers, those of us who know that we need to know this and embrace it, know whose you are. Spiritually, God says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Come on. If I am fearfully and wonderfully made, how in the world do I deserve to be cheated on? If I am fearfully and wonderfully made, how in the world should I accept somebody who wants to walk on me, cheat on me, treat me like I don't mean anything? They don't know who I am, and they don't know whose I am. But because I know, we about to shut the party down. Know whose you are. You are a child of the Most High King. If you are walking with the Lord, if you are a believer, you're a child of the Most High King. Now, if I'm a child of the Most High King, help me understand why I gotta dummy down, cow down, bow down to a man who wants to cheat on me. If you think the grass is greener on the other side, go over there and stay. Don't be hopping back over here, because I ain't got time. I know who I am, and I know whose I am. As a believer, you are heirs of God. I'm an heir. What? I'm an heir. You better recognize. And you are God's workmanship. He created you, and he never intended for any of us to be walked on, mistreated, devalued. Boy, bye. Set your boundaries and enforce them. Know whose you are. You were never intended to be cheated on, ever. Stop blaming yourself for stuff that you don't have anything to do with, and you didn't even have any control over that. Let him own his mess. He is who he is. That has nothing to do with you. Stop picking up people's weight that you need to put down. Stop putting on chains that never belong to you. Take back your power, queen. Take it back. Yeah, you may have to cry some nights. You may have to have some sleepless nights. You may have to go through some things emotionally and maybe even mentally. But I'm telling you right now that the light is at the end of the tunnel, but you have to start taking back your power and quit making this cheating thing about you, because it ain't got jack to do with you. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid he done made. Stop believing the hype. Take back your power, queen. Woo! Take it back. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Walk. Do you, and know who you are. Don't you ever let somebody dummy you down, pull you down, take you down, devalue you, and you accept the breadcrumbs. You're not a breadcrumb person. You're a queen. Don't you ever take breadcrumbs. Ooh, got me worked up now. Shoot. All right. We're going to keep this moving. I think we're going to make this. Now, here is the last piece I want to tie in for you. Guard your heart. Remember, it said guard your heart from a cheating man. Sandra, how do I guard my heart? Let's put it all in perspective. I want you to pay attention. When you start involving yourself with a man, I want you to pay attention. Pay attention what he says. Pay attention what he does. Pay attention how he acts. Pay attention of the surroundings in which he goes into. But here's the other thing. When we're bringing a relationship into play, we need to be patient, because that can be something that works against us. When we're not patient and we're trying to rush into a relationship and make it happen. Oh, I think he's great. He's so fine, blah, 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 blah. And we get in that relationship and find out we're not with the person we thought we were going to be with, because we didn't pay attention and we weren't patient. If I want to guard my heart, I got to pay attention. If I want to guard my heart, I got to be patient and make sure that I know what I know. I can't be in no hurry. But I said acquire knowledge, because knowledge is power. So while we're getting this relationship going, or we're considering this relationship, I need to be making mental notes. It reels itself into pay attention. I need to be making some mental notes. I need to be watching you, listening to you, and making my mental notes. Because there's some things that you can see prior to a relationship that will let you know, this guy is extremely flirtatious. He's always saying stuff to other women in front of me, and on and on and on. Acquire knowledge. Take the time to date, to court, to watch, to think, so that you can guard your heart, so that you don't jump into something and surprise, he's a cheater. Oh, I didn't know that. Were you paying attention? Were you being patient, or were you rushing into the relationship? Were you paying attention, or were you just looking at the external and going, girl, he fine, he got a good job, I think we would be good, but you're really not paying attention to his speech, what he's saying, how he acts around your friends, how he acts around your girlfriends, how he acts around women in general. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the better decision you'll make as to whether or not this is a relationship that's going to be healthy for you. If this is a relationship you'll be able to trust this person. Is this a relationship you'll be able to be safe and secure in without having to contend with, where is he at? Who is he with? Guard your heart. You are worth it. Guard your heart. That just means pay attention, be patient, acquire that knowledge, guard your heart. Don't let stuff slide. Don't let stuff slide. When you hear what you hear and you know it's off center, make them accountable. Guard your heart, ladies. You are queens. You deserve a good man, a faithful man. You deserve a healthy relationship. And there is never, ever, 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 ever anything that you have done that you should concede to a cheating man. I don't care about your past. I don't care if you had a situation where you were a cheater at one point in your life. That doesn't mean you deserve a man who's going to cheat on you. I don't care what has happened to you and what has happened in your past. Know that you are worth being in a monogamous relationship, and you're taking no prisoners. He comes right or he doesn't come at all. You want all or nothing. If you can't give me all, I don't want your breadcrumbs. We don't do breadcrumbs. I hope I have said something to encourage you. I really want to share this with you because it's so prevalent. And like I said, I'm not saying all men cheat, but it is so prevalent. And I think there comes times where we get too comfortable and we let stuff go and we give it a free pass and we give it permission and we think, oh, well, if I just give it time, he'll stop, it'll blow over. It's just a moment. And we make a bunch of excuses because we have that fear of letting go, that fear of being by ourselves, that fear that we're not going to have somebody else in our life and we need to settle for whatever we can get. As the old folks say, we got breath and bridges. So we just excited to have half of a man. And I don't ever want you to belittle yourself and devalue yourself to that point that that's what you want to do. You want to settle. Because I'm telling you, without knowing you personally, you are a queen and you are worth way, way more than some breadcrumbs. What I got left over, I guess I'll hook up with you now. I guess I'll spend some time with you now. It's what I got left over. Left over? I know who I am and whose I am. I don't do leftovers. Boy, bye. Love you, ladies. I'm glad that you have joined me, and those of you who will come behind and watch this as a recording. I just appreciate you so much. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to have more and more stuff for us to be encouraged, for us to be uplifted, for us to have information, because knowledge is power. I want you to be courageous enough to be present in the truth. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you soon.